Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the replay where we're still trying to make your day. I am your host, Jabril A. Rashad, featuring I Am Student Athlete, as you can see. And we're here to talk all about this up and coming camp that we have in Dallas, Texas. Yes. And I'll be bringing up two very special guests this evening. So before we get into any of that, please hit the like, subscribe, share, and notification button for me before we get ready to start this show. And we're going to get ready to do this in just a second. I just need for y'all to hit that subscribe, like, and share button. We are live. This is the replay again where we still try to make your day. Okay, we're here to talk about it. A lot of things that you all have seen me upload, post, talk about, and so forth, which is the AEX/SAC, which is an acronym for Student Athlete Camp. And that's by two wonderful individuals whom I had the pleasure to work with and meet a couple of years ago, who goes across the country doing the National High School Combine. It's a showcase where they go and collect the data for some of the best high school athletes across the country, and take that information collectively and reach out to colleges and universities to try to help these young men live out their dreams and their passions. So we've been at this for a brief moment, but it seems like it's every time we get together, it's more years that has passed us by, because we enjoy doing what it is that we've been able to do. So without any further ado or delay, I'm going to bring, first and foremost, I'm going to bring Mr. Randy Warden with SAC. Good evening to you, Randy. That's Coach Randy
Hey
Warden.
man, how you doing?
And he's joined by
Yes,
his
sir.
son, and then my guy, Tajir Warden. How you doing, Taj?
Man, doing good, man. Doing good. Thanks for having us on here today. We appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man. No problem at all, man. Again, you all are from the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and you've been putting on these showcases for quite some time now. And Randy, I'm gonna come to you first, because he's the big dog in this thing. That's Taj's father. But I'm gonna come to Randy first, and Randy, I just want you to give us a little bit of history about SAC and what SAC is all about, and how long SAC has been going about this. He may be a little bit
been going
okay.
on. It's been
I'll tell you what, let me put you on pause just for a second, Randy, because I know you're freezing up just a little bit. But let me come to Todd on that same question, Todd.
Yeah, man. Man, so talking about SAC Showcase, I call him Coach Randy, I call him Pops. You know what I'm saying? Started this opportunity to help young athletes be able to get the exposure that they need to be able to go to college and play football, play sports, but also help them be young men and now young ladies, as we dive into flag football for the young ladies. So that's what it is. SAC Showcase also focuses on the student first and athlete second, but we put the whole thing in one. All right, Student Athletes Camp. We're gonna really focus on how to make you the better person, a better athlete you need to be for society, for yourself, for your family, and those later on years. We've been at SAC for. This is going on 6 years. 6 years now where we've been hosting combines through SAC Showcase. And before that, Jabril, I don't know if you knew, but before that, Pops was holding something called the Student Advisory Board, Student Athletes Advisory Board. Yeah. And so where he would help pro athletes, college athletes, pursue their ambitions going to the pro level. So we saw opportunity that, hey, we got a lot of guys coming from this college realm who had some things that stem from high school. So now, how do we help those guys through this entire process? We got to go down to high school and middle school. So yeah, I'll let Coach talk more about his personal ambitions on why he started it and everything. But yeah.
Yeah, well, Randy, I definitely want to come to you regarding that in terms of your vision when you first got into this. What was your vision, and what were you your targets in terms of what it is you wanted to get out of this particular type of program?
Yeah. So the vision, man, was really, I started out doing personal training, and just helping out a lot of athletes. And one of the things was when Taj got into college, it was him being in college and being able to, once he became a senior, he ended up. It's funny how things happen, but he ended up missing a credit, and it took him a whole season for his senior year to get a credit. And by the time he got that credit, it was the season was over. But he was able to participate in pro day, so which was a good thing. But then, of course, then we had some other things that happened as far as him his highlight film and things like that. That's what kind of things that would happen. But so after that, when that all was going on, man, I just decided. I said, you know what, I got to do something. I can't have another kid go through what he went through. So that's what really, that's what God laid on my heart. And maybe that's how SAC Showcase came about.
Well, they do say, a lot of times some of the best ideas or inventions come out of adversity, and sometimes I always say this is one of my favorite saying to not only to myself, but to my family, my children. So if I always say, when anyone chooses not to hire you, hire yourself. Hire yourself. So what you basically did was take matters into your own hand and started looking at it outside of just, immediately starting with your family, of course, but then you look beyond that and you saw an opportunity where, if this happened to my son, what other child has happened to? And so you decided to do something about it, man. And that's what we're about. I think is, of course, we had another individual, another gentleman that introduced us and so forth. But when individuals have a heart to do something, God will bring it together, and it'll be all in His plan, all in His divine plan to make these things, a reality. And that's the beauty of it, man. That's why, I'm happy to. It was kind of like, trying to get some of the dust off the roads or some of the rocks off the road or what have you. But anything that's worth doing or having, you got to go through a little perseverance first, a little bit of adversity, basically, right? So I'm glad to see that you took that upon yourself and showed it yourself. So let me come to you right quick on this, Todd, because you played your athletic background, and I want you to share this with the people. Your athletic background stems from, I know you play a little bit of arena ball. Explain to the people what's your athletic career been like.
Yeah, so of course, played. I'm out in Charlotte, North Carolina. Went to Zebulon B. Vance High School. Now Julius Chambers. A lot of people probably seen them all over social media, the Rah Rah team, and all those kind of things. I was a leading tackler on that team. Led that team to the playoffs. Went to the semi-final round in states. Lost to a very good Butler team. Some of you guys may know quarterback Riley Ferguson, who played for that team. And Jawan Edwards. But after that, went on to North Carolina A&T, played football at North Carolina A&T. Then I ran into that situation that Pops was talking about as far as my last year being short, and how I ended up getting into that situation. And I guess I'll explain that a little bit. What so happened? So I was a biology major at North Carolina A&T, and you have to have 18 credit hours towards graduation. Well, one of the classes that I needed was not available until the spring, and so it knocked me out. I was a credit short toward NCAA because I had to take another semester. So my clock, not necessarily my clock, but my time extended for the amount of time that I was supposed to be playing ball. And so by not having that credit, I was not NCAA eligible due to that credit. And so that right there end up putting a stamp in there. I'm like, oh man, and now I've been working really hard trying to get to this level, playing NFL, playing pro ball, And now it feels like I'm not going to have the opportunity. Well, just so happens that we end up getting a foot in the door to participate in pro day, meeting some NFL teams, and then, you know, doing some NFL workouts, and then falling into arena ball. Played professional arena ball. Before that was semi-pro, so I had to take a little detour to get to where I was going. But like Jabril, you know, Pop's always talking about, you know, God has a purpose for you. You just stay true to what God has for you. You trust in that process. You know, it's not always going to look pretty. It's not always going to be the best. But the same knowledge, man, I've got to gain a lot of brothers and a lot of friends through the process, whether being in the NFL from high school through NFL. So I got a lot of teammates that I've been able to connect with from many, many different levels, and be able to allow me to grow my personal knowledge of the game as well as me playing. So yeah, that's where that comes from, as well as outside of playing, coached high school football, was defensive coordinator at Hickory Ridge High School out in Harrisburg, North Carolina for some time. And yeah, man, did some personal training, so worked with a lot of athletes as well. But yeah,
absolutely. That's, you know, hey, you earn your stripes, as we like to say. And I always say, man, anybody that's been on that gridiron, I don't care if it was for 1 season or 2 seasons or whatever, we're still gridiron brothers. So I definitely understand that the travels, the sojourn, trying to get to that next level and reach that next level, because it's not always easy. So that even shows me even more that you definitely had a passion for what it was and is that you're doing, and to be able to transition that over to being able to pour back into our youth, which is so important. You know, and we talk about that a lot of times when we talk off of air too, Taj. And so, you know, so Randy, I want to transition a little bit in terms of what we're talking about, our youth and pouring back into them. And I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show how you guys go across the country. He buffing out his question too. Well, I'm gonna have to come back to you then on this one right here. We'll get it together. But we talked about Taj pouring back into the youth and so forth, and some of the things that you all been able to do with SAC, which is, again, it's an acronym for Student Athlete Camp. You've gone across the country. You've gone to places like Alabama, Hawaii. I may be leaving some other places out. I may need for you to fill that in. But just share with the audience in regards to what it is you all do when you're doing these showcases.
Yeah, definitely, man. So to speak on some of the places that we have been, like you said, Alabama, Hawaii, of course, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, California, up and down California, down the West Coast, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. We'll be going to, I think I said Tennessee, Texas, of course, you know, Dallas, Houston, Florida. I mean, anywhere you probably can put your finger on it. We've been to that state, trying to help kids out and trying to locate kids, to allow them to get the maximum exposure that they need in many different ways and many different levels. You know, and we even got kids who get recognized for doing some community service things. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about the value of the kid. But then you also got kids who we had who play in the league. You know what I'm saying? Such as Garrett Williams, played for the Arizona Cardinals. You know, so but yeah, man, that's you know, when we get to camp and when we host our showcases, kids get registered based off our website to get an earned an invite. So you just go to sacfootballshowcase.com and you can earn an invite. You fill out your athlete questionnaire. On that questionnaire, you'll get hey, I want to attend the camp. I want to attend the showcase and show what I have. From that, you'll go through evaluation process, and you know, in your email, you should receive that hey, you got invited to come participate. You know, from that point on, you complete your process and confirm your attendance. And then once you get to camp, man, camp is a very, very simple process. But one thing we ask for you to do is to be very dedicated and stay true to what it means to be an athlete, right? So you're gonna go through testing. You're 40. You're gonna run your 40-yard dash. You're gonna do your L drill, your pro agility, broad jump, and just for those people who are not sure what that is, these are the regular common tests that athletes do in the NFL combine. All right. So, and if you understand that these are tests that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, as long as you're pursuing football. So you're going to run your 40, no matter you run your 40 in high school, college, and when you're trying to go to the NFL, you got to run your 40, whether it's playing in arena ball, you still got to run. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that we really want to focus on. You know, sometimes camp does get fast paced, right? Because sometimes we get a lot of high intense athletes, right? But we really one thing that people really talk about SAC Showcase is that we're very personal, and we take the time when we see a kid doing something wrong or it's incorrect, we try to help them out as much as we possibly can so they can run the best time they possibly can, because our times are official times. We don't want you to put any bad times out there. And what I mean by official times, these times get sent out to recruiting platforms, college coaches all over the country. So these official times will follow you until you go to another combine or another camp on a college campus and run a better time. So that kind of gives you a gist of what we do. We do testing, and we do one-on-one competition, and sometimes 7-on-7, depending on the outline, the weather and things of that nature. We want to definitely keep the kids safe, but it's high intensity, man. It's high intensity. It's very professional. Just keeping it transparent. We're very professional about what we're doing, so we expect our athletes to be professional and carry themselves as such. Because as an athlete, whether you're in high school, college, or in the pros, you are your business at that point in time. So that's what we expect, and that's our expectations when you come to camp.
Absolutely. And Randy, I want you to kind of piggyback off what Todd was talking about in terms of the times and so forth, and all of the analytics and the reasons why it's so important for the students, athletes. I always have to put the student in there, but for them to come and register because of that very reason on how y'all ascertain the information. So explain to the audience why you need them to go ahead and register early in terms of what it is that you all are doing. Randy, if you can hear.
Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear, we can hear you fine.
I can hear you. Okay. Yeah. So it's very important for you guys to be able to register early. And one of the main reasons of being able to register early, that way we can have you in our database and we can be able to put you into our system. So we have all the kids in the system. That way, when we start doing the 40, we do the shuttle. We have all that information already, and that goes into our system. That way, we'll be able to, our kids will be able to be into the system the correct way.
Absolutely. And so y'all heard him say it's why it's so important that you register. Remember, we have a 2-day weekend. As you can see, it's scrolling across the bottom of the bar. We're going to be up at Wilmer Hutchins High School auditorium on Friday, March the 28th. Doors open up at 5:30 p.m. We're going to be there from 6 to 9 p.m. But again, the doors open up at 5:30 p.m. And that's free. That's totally free. That's why I always say tell a friend to tell a friend. If you have a cousin, a son, nephew, or what have you. And we also invite the girls to come out, but we understand we have to really go to the young men first and really try to correct them, because they are the natural leaders by God's decree. So we're trying to get our young men, because I told y'all before, this is like some people would say it's a state of emergency. I call it a crisis, because they have a term out there called juvenile criminal engagement, and it's on the rise. It's not on the decline, it's on the rise. And so we have to be able to provide our young people with tools, useful tools to use, so that they can have a brighter future or have something to work with when they're going through these adverse situations. So this is what we're doing with I Am Student Athlete, along with SAC Student Athlete Camp, AEX, which is a part of SAC. And what we're doing across the board with this thing, we're doing the orientation part. As I was sharing earlier, when Todd and I was talking, I said, hey, what job hires you without going through orientation? So we have something that we're going to be doing like a precursor for that Saturday. Now, come Saturday is where Todd, Randy, myself, along with other volunteers, we're going to be out there. And these are guys, like I said, that's the reason why I wanted Todd to give his credentials, because we're not just some lightweights. We've actually been out there. We've actually played the game. We've been coached by some of the best, So you're going to have professional individuals collegially and NFL wise that's going to be partaking in this to pour back into our youth to give them a better way of seeing life. And I'm always like that. I'm not just about the football in and of itself. I'm also about developing overall their whole entire human development. And that's so important. So that's what we want to definitely focus on. So again, for those of you all who are joining us or will be joining us or seeing this late, Once we upload this again, this is the replay where we're gonna still try to make your day. And we're featuring I Am Student Athlete. We're talking about this year's Youth Educational Entrepreneurship Summit 2025, as well as the SAC Showcase, Football Showcase. You can go to the website again. That's www.sacfootballshowcase.com, right?
Yeah.
That's .com on that. So again, that is a registration. I think it's a very fair, nominal fee for what these guys do. They've already counted. They said, well, Jabril, since you're doing it like this, man, we're going to pull back too. So just go on there and have all the information for you guys to sign up. Now, this was on K104 local radio station. I got several calls saying that they heard about this SAC showcase that they're doing for the youth. There are going to be individuals that that's planning on participating. I got a confirmation on a few of them. Some of these young men you've already heard. I'm just gonna put them up there a little bit, and maybe you heard them and seen them play this past season. Now, give me just a second here. But I want to make sure that those individuals who may not haven't even heard about Saturday's competition, that you're hearing about it now, straight from the horse's mouth. So important. We're gonna have people like Braylon Edwards out there who played with Duncanville. He's gonna take part of it. I think we got there go Braylon right there. We got another young player. I gotta stay with me here. We got Thomas Cook who won state champion North Crowley taking place. And I've also reached out to the second best corner in the state of Texas, Marcel, his father, Marcel Sr., who already signed early with Clemson. Is going to take place in this showcase. So if you got the skill set, if you feel like you didn't get a lot of playing time last year, you feel like you need to get a little bit more exposure, a little bit more attention, now is the time and the place to come do this with the SAC Football Showcase. Because I'm telling you, these guys, what they do, like I said, this is 3 years running now that I've worked with them. We've done it. As far as personally, we did it in Dallas back in 2023. We did Houston last year. Now we're back in Dallas. We're kind of alternating. And who knows, once we finish with this, where we're going to go in the state of Texas. You know, it's been my dream, my passion to go back to El Paso because I'm back as an alumni speaking to the head coaches and assistant athletic directors down there. And who knows, we may have one big thing down in El Paso. So we're gonna pray on that too, man, and make that happen because I'm telling you, that's definitely a soil grass, as they say, very fertile. And the opportunities, man, is, you know, the sky is definitely the limit. So again, this is the showcase. Y'all see the address and everything that's scrolling across the bar. I'm gonna keep it up there until we end the show, this evening show. So what I want to do just a little bit though, I want to get to something that I pulled from Master P because he was on the Pivot, the podcast, the Pivot Show, and I couldn't say it any better. I've been saying it, but I'm glad the fact that he said it, and it made me think about our our perception of how we're looking at things as it relates to today, and how we're become so desensitized when it comes to our youth, thinking that those who are not doing things the way they should be doing them, like that's a broad brush to paint every kid like that, because it's not every kid. There are some kids that really want it out of life, and those are the kids. Well, we want them all, but we know we won't get them all. We know we're going to lose a few, but at the same time, we have to make ourselves ready and available. But listen to some of the things that Master P said.
Inner city kids, but that ain't news. That ain't good media. But what is good media is something negative. So we're trying to change lives and save lives, but do our people really care about that? That don't get clicks and views, right? Yeah. And so that's the mission I'm on. So obviously you can't do that. You get your rewards in heaven.
So Randy, I don't know if you had a chance to hear him. Did you hear him okay?
Yeah, I did. I did. Yeah.
Okay, because I want to come to you about.
I heard him.
Okay, I'm gonna recap what he was just talking about. You know, he was talking about the negativity they'll play that all day long. They'll run that all day long. But when it comes to the positive things that we're doing, like what we're talking about with this camp, with this summit, the positive things, they don't get, you don't get too many clicks for that, And then he asked the question, well, do our people want that? Because they're always talking about Black Lives Matter, Black Youth Lives Matter. So you have something that can offset something that's negative, And again, we won't get them all. But when you hear someone like a Master P talking about this very thing that we're trying to offset, what comes to mind, Randy?
Yeah, no, it's not, one of the things is it's not just it's just not just our community or not just us and that our it's everywhere. Because I think he even talked about where in New Orleans that how that's how he's trying to try to reach those kids in the New Orleans area. So yeah, it's all over. And one of the things I think for us is just being able to really be able to link together to be able to make sure that we are able to reach kids. Like you said, we're not going to be able to get all of them, but at least we can get some of them. And if we can get the opportunity to be able to help them, to be able to let them see that it's something better than what they're doing, and better than even sometimes I even say certain things on social media that they're watching. There's other opportunities. There are other things that they can be able to get better at, or better things that they can do. I think we can accomplish a certain goal.
What about you, Todd? When you hear him say something like that, what comes to your mind?
Yeah, man, definitely, man. I piggyback off of what you guys are saying, man. We see it all the time, man. Matter of fact, what was that about a month or two ago? Had a young athlete play defensive back for me out in Harrisburg, North Carolina. So it's something that goes all over the place. But a young athlete, got murdered. And so not even into his senior year, young kid, man, and his life is taken because of some of the decisions, or just getting that environment, being around that environment, or people around that environment who have that influence at that point in time, take the kid's life. So man, it's all over the place, and it is up to us to come together and figure out and do different things to make these kids stand up. One of my mentors, Sam Griner, out at West Charlotte High School, just won the state championship, 3A state championship in North Carolina. Always would tell his kids, man, make him stand up. And that means, allow God to use you, allow God to move through you in your everyday life. Make him stand up in everything that you do. And yeah, every kid doesn't necessarily believe in God, based on the way they're raised and things of that nature. But every kid does have something in them that God has placed in them. To allow them to be the best person they possibly can be. So when you have people like us who's coming together to put on events like the Youth Summit, that's going to allow your kids to be able to grow as young men and grow as young individuals, you take advantage of that. You got an event, a sports event, something that's catered directly to what you do on a day-to-day basis. You take advantage of that. Not only with this sports event, you get an opportunity to showcase yourself on a national stage and be able to play in a bowl game, All-American bowl game, as well as be invited to our Rising Stars National Combine, right? So, it's many different ways and opportunities that you're able to grow as a young man, as a young individual, and it's not street. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it real. You ain't in the street, man. You're doing something positive, man, and you're still going to go get it, right? Everybody just, man, I'm out there. I'm out here. Okay, you out here, but what you doing with your life, and how long is your life going to last? You could be out here doing, giving back like we are too as a young person, right? So it doesn't take much, man. I remember, and I won't go too long, but I remember being in middle school. I was in middle school, and not sure if y'all call it middle school out there in Texas, but 6th, 7th, 8th grade, right time. I was fortunate enough to be a youth ambassador for an organization called Samaritan's Feet, where I was able to travel to South Africa and help those who are less fortunate by, humbly washing their feet and providing them with a pair of socks and shoes, something that we take for granted, man. You got people who stand in lines waiting for $300, $400 pairs of shoes, and there's people who walk around barefoot every single day and not complain one bit. Just humbly washing their feet, sharing the gospel at that point in time and giving them a pair of socks and shoes, and you should see how their face lights up. Even those kids who are in the street, how just that moment of somebody else coming into their life, it was so many questions. Oh, how do I do this? Oh, I want to help and I want to do. And it just like you was just out on the street the other day, but just because somebody else came in that you look up to or you see somebody pour into you, that mindset changed. So man, yeah, man. I definitely agree with what he's saying about we got to get out there and we got to do something. But definitely need the community to step up and help out and push these kids to be greater, because that's what we need. That they're our next leaders, man. So that's what I sit on.
I think and I think it's a rhetorical question when I ask you this question, because just listening to you talk, we definitely are on the same parallel bar, trying to go in the same direction. Because I was sharing with on my social media page regarding a conversation I was having with someone, and they just felt like that the parents themselves need to step up, and it should just be totally about the parents. And I said, well, you're not wrong in what you're saying in your estimation. I said, but at the same time, I said, if a police officer who have taken an oath, have sworn an oath to protect and serve, if he felt like that every time he got a call, a 187 call, and we understand that a 187 call means that somebody has been unalived, and he hear this time and time again, he become desensitized. If he starts to become desensitized, then what kind of society would we live in, right? And I also brought up the fact that I said, well, Satan hasn't left the battlefield. So why should God serve the people who believe in the Most High God? Why should we lead the battlefield? You can't not become desensitized just because one or two or 4 or 5 kids, chose to go down the wrong path.
That's right.
Because again, the enemy will allow you to see this as though you're losing when you're really winning. As long as we're doing programs and we're trying to figure out a solution, like I said last week, a math teacher once told me my biggest problem, I was struggling with this math problem, and they told me, said, the problem with you is that you're spending too much time on the problem, not the solution. So we have to work out the solutions for more than anything. And I just remind people, don't get, disencouraged, because you're going to have some wins, you're going to have some losses. It's just like trying to put on a showcase or put on a summit. We don't know. Someone asked me the question, well, how many people you think you're going to get? I said, well, which is a great segue to the next video that I'm going to play that Master P was talking about. I said, well, that's not my number. That's not my number, because I remember listening to an individual years ago, very wise man, who once said there was a time when he would speak to 25,000 people. He said, and he was really looking forward to that. But he said, but as he aged and got older, he said it didn't matter if one person was there. One person, he said, I would get the same lecture for 2 hours as I would if 25,000 people was there. So it don't matter if it's 100 people, 10,000 people, or 10 people. If you're there for the sole purpose of making a difference and glorifying the Most High God, man, you can never lose. You can never fail. And this is what we have to be about. So I'm going to segue to Master P said in this next video, man, that really brings it home and hit home with me, because this is the very thing that I was talking about. And I'll elaborate on that a little bit more after we watch this video.
So you got to know, are you living right? So you just got to live right and not live in regret. Think about it, we all sitting here 100 years from now, nobody gonna remember none of us, because everybody gonna die. And so you got to know, are you living right? So you just got to live right and not live in regret. And I feel like God put me on this earth to be a servant and a help. And so that's what I'm doing. I think the craziest thing for me, right, when I start doing this, all my friends that are rich, if I say, let's go to the club and turn up, they're ready to turn up. They'll spend $200,000, $300,000, whatever, $1 million. If I say, man, let's go do something to save these kids' lives, to make a change. And if I say we need 10,000, oh man, hit me back next week.
So I'm gonna segue into what I'm about to say, Randy. I'm gonna come to you on this, because I think we was talking about it, even on the registration. And I don't know, sometimes with us, man, we just love to procrastinate, whatever that's about. Love to be the last one showing up and running to the bus. A lot of times, I'm not saying nobody else doesn't do it. I'm just saying it seems like as it relates to us, because we don't have time. Like I was listening to Tommy Davidson was talking about, because he was adopted. I'm talking about the comedian Tommy Davidson, and his sister was Caucasian, a girl, and she was talking about how they was being late for class, but the teacher kept pulling him out, but never would say anything to her. So his mom pulled him to the side and she took him and she said, listen, she said, she took him over there where the great majority of African Americans live. And she said, let me explain something to you. He was young. He said, you never forget this. He said he was upset when she told him in the beginning, but then later on in life, he learned it. He said, she told him that as a black man in this country, you can never be not on time. You have to be on time. And that's unfortunate, but a lot of times that's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be able to look within ourselves, and whatever that is, whatever gets you going, self-motivation, whatever galvanizes you, you have to take a real deep interface with yourself and be able to say, okay, why am I doing this? If you can remove the ego part out of it, you ask yourself, why am I doing this? So when Master P come on and say something like he just said in reference, I got friends that want to spend, $200,000, $300,000, but you ask them for $10,000. Oh man, get back with me next week. It's because they don't have long vision and they're not sensitive enough. So Randy, when you hear something like that on this video we just played, what comes to mind?
Yeah, no, man. It's I always sometime when I think about I'm a punctual person. I like to be on time. I learned that from a young age. From actually one of my coaches, he always said, if you're on time, you're late.
Okay,
being early means you're on time. I try to apply that in my life in any way I can. And that way, every time when I do things, I know, okay, I'm me being on time means I'm gonna be there early, and that means I get myself prepared with the things I have to do. So yeah, absolutely. So and it's just and just knowing that the things that we do in life, God put us on a path to do certain things, and our job is to try our best to complete it and stay on the path that He put us on. Sometimes we do veer off, but we have to always remember we have to put the blinders on and have to keep going. So that's one of the things I got from out of that. Yeah,
I certainly agree with you, my brother. Todd, what you think about it when you hear Master P talk about that? They priority seem like it's just out of whack. What comes to your mind?
Yeah, man. No, I definitely understand that, and I think you were saying it earlier. For some reason, we have a problem with procrastination, in our community, and you hear people drink about that's CP time. You really think about you think about it like, man, but if we continuously take steps back, like, okay, I'm okay to be late, I'm okay, and then we get upset when people beat us to the punch, that's backwards. You know what I'm saying? That's backwards. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta take steps moving forward, man, as a community. Just one of the things that he was talking about, and I hate to hear this sometimes, and sometimes it's true, and sometimes it's like, okay, how can we encourage our brothers and sisters, right? So he was talking about, going to the club. My boys ready to go. They ready to throw their money, get ready to go. But when it's time to do something good, it's I don't have no money right now, or I don't do this, blah, blah, blah. But it's always a complaint about that kid doing this, and why that kid, where that kid parents at, and what you know what I'm saying? So, we gotta just work together, man. We gotta work together, man. Like, and I just really can't really harp on this enough. You have a great opportunity this weekend at this youth summit and this showcase and this combine to really dive deep into who you are, who you want to be, and who you're going to be. And those three things in your life are very, very important. Who you are right now, who you are today, who you want to be, and who you're going to be. Like, and some kids say, "Oh, I'm all right. I do this. I do that. You know what I'm saying? I do that when I get to it. I'm good, man. I'm straight." You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, you got the kid that ain't saying nothing. He working his behind off. And that's the kid you sit there, like, when you get old and you sit there, you like, dang, man, I want to be like him when I grow up. The same kid that you was talking all that about not being able, you get what I'm saying? So, man, we gotta hold each other accountable, man, and gotta stay with it, gotta stay true who we are as a community. Stay on time, man. Stay on time. One of the things for me, as far as time is concerned, as you heard my pops talk about it, right? I kind of got those things from him as well. It's just constantly seeing him get up in the morning, go to work, stay on time, do those things. Those are things that's instilled with me. I don't like being late. Not a big fan of it. Try to get things done on time if I can, early if I can. And if it's a lot going on, I try to write it down so that way I make sure I get it done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And hold everybody accountable around me as well. So it takes a village. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. It really does take a village.
You're absolutely correct about that. And I put that on one of the flyers that I had down. I am student flyer about that it takes a village, and that's really powerful when you say it. When you think about it, it takes a village. This is in scripture. It ain't something we just made out of our head. It really does take a village, because we're just we're three people on the show, but we're individually separate from one another, but collectively we come together. It's like they say, when you ball that fist up 5 digits, individually, man, it can't get a whole lot done, but if you can work together, ball that fist up, it packs a powerful punch. And so you're absolutely right when you say that, Taj, about it takes a village and us coming together. Because it just amazes me, man, again, as I was speaking about this individual, how you can see something because you think that it doesn't directly affect you. See, it's just like in using a little bit of the Constitution, if you will, when they talk about foreign policies and domestic policies, and I don't care what they're doing over there in Russia or in China and all these other different countries. I said, because you don't have a global perspective. You don't have a global way of thinking, because you don't see when you're talking about international trade partners, what affects people overseas will affect you right here at home and vice versa. So you got to know something about, macro and micro lending and all this other stuff, and study the economy and the goods and services and supply and demand. You have to understand these things. So when you put that just in a human sense, and you look at what's going on, because I'm a strong believer in causation. I believe that every cause has an effect. And if you throw a boomerang out there, if you throw good out, good will come back. You throw bad out, guess what? Bad is going to come back. You see what I'm saying? So it's really a no-brainer in terms of what it is that we understand that we have to do. Let me make a quick interruption for those who are still coming on, or those who will be seeing this a little bit later. I did not put a declaration, if you will, to let y'all know I was going on live because I was rushing and so forth. But we are live right now. So for those of you who will catch this later, I just want you to know this is Mr. Randy, or I say Coach Randy Warden, and his son, Coach Tajir. I call him Taj Warden. They're from Charlotte, North Carolina. They are over the AX/SAC football showcase. And these are my guys. I do sit on the board with them with I Am Student Athlete. And this is what we're doing coming this weekend. Again, as a reminder, this is a 2-day weekend. First Friday, this Friday, March 28th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We will be up at the Wilmer Hutchins Auditorium. That's 5520 Langdon Road in Dallas, Texas. And the doors will open up at 5:30 p.m. We got special guests that's going to be on board, former NBA players, former college collegiate players, and former NFL players that's going to be providing insightful information as well as business knowledge. We got some business owners, business leaders that's going to be there speaking. We have the Dallas Police Department that's going to take a part of this program to talk about some of the trends that we're seeing in the community, as well as what we can do to help try to, curtail things, because this is not just Dallas, it's happened all across the country. So this is what we're going to be about. You're going to be able to listen to former NBA player, 2-time NBA champion Michael Williams talk about his organization called Assist for Living. And he has a construction company. He's talking about the workforce development, how these kids can go in and pick up a trade. Because, again, we understand that everybody's not going to make it in the NFL. Everybody's not going to make it in the NBA. Everybody's not going to make it in the NLB. But what you can be is a professional in life. And so when we wasn't even taught or learning about, or no one actually told us about the business behind sports, we had to figure it out later on, much later on. In my case, by the time I really understood it, I had maybe a peck of grace somewhere. So we're trying to start out young and educate our youth as well as maximize their athletic talents, their athletic gifts. That's what the showcase is all about. I'm trying to tell you all, listen, and if I haven't told you anything else, this is a 2-day weekend that if you just don't have anything pressing, anything, that you just have to do. And I get if you're a caretaker of someone, a custodian of some elderly person, or you got to work, or your boss done, demanded overtime. I get all of that. Or you may be bedridden or sick or whatever. I get all of that. But if you just twiddling your thumbs, sitting back, and I think, Randy, you can appreciate when I say this, waiting for Soul Train to come on, because Soul Train ain't coming on no more. You know what I'm saying? I might have caught a little bit on the end, but if you waiting on, whatever it is, twiddling your thumb, listen, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. Come out to the summit on Friday. Come out to the showcase on Saturday. You're gonna get some information. You're gonna get something that's gonna be useful that you can put into your wheelhouse. And I guarantee you, at some point, it'll come up later on because you will remember something from this summit. Something that someone said. I'll be talking to as well as hosting, but I got some real good individuals that's going to share some information, some knowledge, and that's what we're going to be about. So I'm gonna put this up right quick on the screen right here, just to let the people know again. That's the Parent Youth Get Ready. We're talking about Friday, March 28th. That is the summit. I am Student Athlete, and that's presented. We're creating, that's our theme, creating a new culture, talking about financial literacy, workforce development. It is the Youth Educational Summit 2025. You don't want to miss it. Again, we're going to have special guests. Like I said, I got my man, Steven Headache Smith in the house. Many of y'all may remember, Headache. He had a story to tell. His story is on Netflix now. I got my man, Anthony Barner, as a keynote speaker, and you see Michael Williams at the top. This guy still holds the NBA record for the highest free throw percentage in all of NBA history. So these are the individuals, just some of the individuals that's going to be speaking. Of course, we got a plethora of other people that's going to be there to be able to share their knowledge, their experiences, and their life story. So I don't want, again, the parents to cheat yourself, but I want you to treat yourself. And I know Randy and Taj feel the same way. Let me put up this. Let me see if I got another video. I don't think I have any other video I want to share, but let me come to you right quick, Randy. Is there anything that you want to say to the audience that are listening now and who's going to be watching this a little bit later in regards to Saturday and the whole 2-day weekend?
Yeah. It's going to be great, man. I definitely encourage everybody to come out for the 2-day weekend. The summit, I think the summit is going to be very beneficial for everybody to be able to come out, to be able to learn, to be able to hear different things, hear different stories. I think it'd be great. For Saturday, for Saturday, all you guys are class of 2026 to 2030, you guys come out. Put your best foot forward. Come out there. Put 100% in doing your testing and doing your one-on-one drills and just being able to do everything, all those things. You never know who's watching you. I always say that all the time. You never know who's there. You never know who's watching. Because that can be the day you may come out. So a lot of kids come out, they're like, I don't have any offers. I don't, they don't want to come, but they come out. And guess what? That'd be the day that you get an offer. So you always have to think of the lighter thing and say, you know what, I'm going out there and I'm going to go out there and compete. And that's one of the main things. Come out to compete early, register early as you can. Like I said before, being able to register early helps us as far as being able to put your information in the system. Also, by you registering early, it gives us a roster list that we be able to send the roster list and things like that to the college coaches because they do want to see that. So that's one of the main reasons you need to register early.
Absolutely. What about you, Taj?
Yeah, same thing, man. I'll speak on the AEX side of things. Guys, man, participating in this event gives you an opportunity to get to qualify for the All-American Experience Bowl game taking place in December of this year, featuring the class of 2026. That does not mean that if you're not in the class of 2026, you cannot be nominated for the bowl game. It would just be the bowl game of your year, your graduating year, as well as an opportunity to participate for those younger guys in our Rising Stars National Showcase taking place again that bowl week. And there's a lot of other things going on during that week, as far as community development, NIL opportunity, building relationship with businesses, and building your brand. You're going to learn some more things as well as what you're going to gain right here on Friday. So it's very, very important for you to get to this summit so you can really understand how things move, how life moves as an athlete, as a human being, as a person. And then you take that and then you let it be permeable to the field on Saturday so we can see you grow as an individual. We really, really want to see it, and I can't harp on that enough, how we really do. And this is, I got to be serious right here. We run a professional combine. I understand that.
Yeah.
This is a very professional combine. That's not to scare some of you guys. I just want to be very transparent with you. It's going to be high intensity. It's going to be fast. You're going to get some coaching. You'll get some learning of some different things. But we want you to compete. We want you to compete. It's going to be some of the top athletes in the country, right? People are going to come all over the place to come to this event. But you guys right here in your hometown, I need you to represent the state of Texas, right? And more so the city of Dallas, right? So let's do what we do, man. Let's get it out here, man. I need you guys to register. It's very important to register early, like Coach was saying. That allows you to be able to get on our roster so we can send that out to college coaches. Speaking of that, literally probably right before we got on here, I had a college coach who reached out to me and said, can I get the list for Saturday's event? So, I mean, they're asking and they want to see it, and because they're going to want to see your results as well. And some of them are going to be able to come out. Also, guys, understand how things move throughout the athletic calendar throughout this year. And how we're going to be beneficial by you attending this event. Okay. Like I said, not only are you going to be able to get the exposure that you need from the different platforms as well as the college coaches, but you're also going to get official timing and an opportunity to showcase yourself on a national stage, right? We talk about building you up as a young man, as a young athlete. We're going to put you in front of a lot of people, point blank. You got to be able to come out here and do what you do.
That's a beautiful thing. And I was sharing with y'all earlier. I think, Randy, when I told you earlier, you had tried to call me, and I didn't weren't able to pick up because one of my ex-teammates who played 12 years with the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Tober, had called me, and we were sitting there talking. He shared some stuff, and I may even mention this again on Friday as we're talking to the youth that he was in a meeting. He had went back to UTEP and was in a meeting with the defensive coordinator, man, and just how they recruit differently now. It's not like they're just all engaging. It's a different type of animal now. And he was basically saying it was just more like they put the kid up there on the film, the projector, wherever, run a few plays, watch him and say, hey, yay or nay, you take a vote on the what, and then they move on to the next one. You see what I'm saying? So it's not a lot. I think they only get if I'm not mistaken, only get 4 visits now that they can have, I think, with what he was telling me, with the I guess the kid or the parents will come out to their home or however they do it. But I want to make sure we get all this pertinent information to the youth, to our youth, so they'll understand that better. Talking about the NIL stuff, man, name, image, likeness, all the things that's going on in that, the contracts that's available, the sponsorships that are available, all these things are very, very important. A lot of parents don't know a lot of this stuff, and this is why I think our duty is to discharge that. What I've done, I put a little montage together to show you how we work. I like this particular song. It's by T.I. Because it shows us how we work when you have to work. So this is a little montage I put aside. Y'all gonna see your boy, yours truly, in the first. God, I think you've seen it anyway before. Oh, you know what? I think because of the way it's loaded, it won't let me probably show the visual aspect of it. So that's my fault. Let me make sure though. I think that's what it is. I had some other stuff that I wanted to show, some of the counts that we did. Well, there we go. That's what we do. We do our job. We do our job. And, you know, the Isley brother Ronald once said it best. I got work to do. We got work to do. We got a lot of work to do. It's a lot of opportunities out there. So I'm not making no excuses. I don't ask for excuses. and I don't accept excuses, and I try not to give any excuses. I just know that when your name is being called, as I said on one of my uploads, that used to be a song, R&B song back in the day. They say when love calls, you better answer. Well, I say when God calls, you better answer too. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the greater and the bigger answer that you need to be answering. So that's what we certainly want to try to do this weekend. I want to recap a lot of what we just talked about before we wrapped up the show here. Again, for those of y'all who are on live with us, watching this in the background, I am with Mr. Coach Randy Warden and his son Taj Warden out of Charlotte, North Carolina. They are joining us this weekend, 2-day weekend. We have at Wilma Hutchins Friday for the Youth Educational Entrepreneurship Summit, starting from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Doors will open up at 5:30 p.m. That's Friday. That's what they've been talking about on K104. Then we have on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. at the Wilma Hutchins practice field, we have the National High School Combine Showcase, but we call it SAC Football Showcase for short. You can register again. Go to register at www.sac, that's SAC, sacfootballshowcase.com. Again, you want to do that as soon as possible because some of these places are filling up fast. You know, they've had this on K104. I got 3 calls on it on yesterday. You know, a young person that's in the neighborhood or somewhere around the block ain't doing too much or want to play ball or want to get his name out there even more. This is what these guys do. They run a very professional camp, and they go across the country in doing this. They collect the information. You do the 40 time just like you would if you was down in the NFL combine. The 40 time, the eye test, all of that. And we do 7-on-7 pass scale. It's a lot of things that go into it. Get that information, that data, and send it to the colleges and universities. That's the goal. So if you know somebody, tell somebody. Don't keep it to yourself. You know, don't let don't sow the seed of laziness, as I like to say, the seed of laziness. Become sensitized, not desensitized, because we have to find a better solution to what's going on so we can push back this idea of juvenile criminal engagement. Because again, you got these young people and they running rampant. And I'm here to do the best that I can, at least do my part in all of this. So guys, I'll say it like this. You know, this has been a great evening show. I'm looking forward to it. This is the 3rd year running for us. I'm glad because, again, we could have done this in Houston, but we decided to go ahead and alternate and bring everything up this way to Dallas. This is a golden now. Let me tell you, it's a platinum golden opportunity to have these gentlemen come into Dallas and do what we got to do for our youth. So when y'all talk about real men, we on the battlefield. We're not up in the stands with the women. You know, I told one guy, I said, listen, you just gonna get in our way. So go ahead and sit up in the stand. See, I don't want you getting in my way, because what you're gonna do is mess it up and you're gonna mess around and get us all killed on the battlefield. You know, you're gonna in the foxhole faking and all this stuff, and the enemy is on our heel. So you do us a favor, stay at home with the women, or get on up in the stand and let the real man get on the football field. So guys, I mean, you know, that'll conclude the show. If y'all have anything else, you know, that you would want to say or get out or whatever, you know, now's the time. Speak freely on it.
Yeah, no, man. I just want to thank you for having us on here, Jabril, man. Really appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Really excited to see the guys come out there and compete, and see the guys be able to get it in on Friday night. And taking all the knowledge they can to grow as young men. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see it. Guys, understand that we're in Texas this week. Next week we're in Oklahoma. So guys, we are on the move. So make sure you catch us while we're there.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Randy.
Yeah, no, I want to say thank you too, man. Definitely, what Todd was saying, I definitely appreciate that we're on the show, man. That you got us on here. Just want to tell everybody, hey, guys, definitely come out and put that 100% in, man. And because we on the move, we are on the move. We'll be here, and we going to Dallas, going to Oklahoma, and after that we go to Atlanta and Tennessee and everything else. So. Yeah, so definitely we're excited to be here. We're excited to get this thing done.
So did y'all hear that, man? When they leave Dallas, they're on their way to Oklahoma, then Orlando, and I tell you, they haven't been to Hawaii and all that. So I'm just simply saying we have them here with us this weekend. So tell your nephews, tell your cousins, your brothers that the SAC showcase is in town up at Wilma Hutchins Saturday morning at 10 a.m. We're gonna be checking in, and that's at 5520 Langdon Road, Dallas. So don't meet me there, beat me there, as they say, because we got a lot of things to do. So this is going to conclude another episode of the replay, where we're still trying to make your day again. I was Jabril Rashad. I'm still your host from the Mostest, and I'm gonna be back on here again shortly. But we on our way, man, up to Wilma Hutchins this Friday and this Saturday. So don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share button for me, because we're still growing this channel. And we're gonna be right back at y'all. Y'all listen to K104. They've been talking about it. Go to the website and register, please, for the camp. The summit is free, absolutely free on Friday, but you got to register for the camp on Saturday. Okay, that's important. Okay, so again, I appreciate y'all coming on with me, fellas. Appreciate it, man. Look forward. Y'all be safe, man, in your travels, and we're gonna talk real soon. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. Y'all have a good one. God bless.
All right.
Peace out.